So this is just a small video about controlled opposition. Right, so we know what controlled opposition is. It's basically, we have two sides to it. You have state propaganda, the mainstream media, then you have the alternative media, which is controlled opposition. Now, when I talk about controlled opposition, there's many. I could list loads of them. I will put some in the comments maybe below, but this is just one of them. And I want to show what sort of tactics that they're using. Now, when it comes to propaganda, state propaganda makes up things, makes up information that appeals to both sides. And by doing this, you can pretty much trap both sides of the spectrum into the system. So this guy here, I first saw this guy during the scamdemic. So here's some of his videos, and he has got a scamdemic one in here somewhere. But there's a tactic that they always use, and when controlled opposition make videos, they always list mainstream media articles, or they always list government figures. So you see that they're actually using the same information that the mainstream media are using. But the reason why they're doing this is they're trying to make the media and the government seem like verifiable sources. So they're trying to make people believe that these figures are correct, when in reality they're not. The government figures, or the figures you see in the mainstream media, they're just propaganda. They're made up. They're designed to push political agendas. And you saw this during the scamdemic. Like, most people I know, they don't know a single person to become ill, seriously ill, or die from this. I asked them, do you have any friends, co-workers, family members, people that live on your street? And most of them, they don't know a single person, yet they still believe there was a scamdemic because of the information they saw either on the mainstream media or through the controlled opposition. Now, I know a lot of my videos are supposed to be about climate change, and I want to see, I'm showing you this now just because, like, here's an example here. Like, he's using the mainstream media. This is an article written by him, but oftentimes in the videos they will refer to mainstream media articles. Like, they're trying to condition people into saying that the media and the government are verifiable sources. You do not verify your information through these organisations. They are nothing but corrupt. So how does this appeal to climate change? Well, climate change, right, when you get your state propaganda, they always say climate change or global warming. And your alternative media, what do they say? They always say weather modification. So you understand what I'm trying to say now, right? When you say, whether you say global warming, climate change, or weather modification, what you're doing, you're inadvertently accepting the belief that there is something wrong with the climate, when in reality there is nothing wrong with the climate. If you look outside now, go for a walk in the woods, look at all the plants, the trees, and they're all thriving, aren't they? There's nothing wrong. You can't see any evidence, no evidence at all to suggest there's a climate emergency. But if you look at the state propaganda outlets, yes, that's what they are. They're propaganda outlets. They're going to be spreading misinformation, falsified images, maybe dramatic images like fires with some dramatic music and loads of false statistics on them. And what they're doing is, they're basically, people look at this and they look at the media and then they think that represents the real world. What they're actually seeing is nothing but lies. What they're being shown is the opposite of reality, and what they're being told is the opposite of reality, I should say. And the same thing is with the alternative media. By saying stupid things like weather modification, there is no such thing as weather modification. They're inadvertently accepting the belief that there is something wrong with the climate. But the reality is, I wasn't even going to show this image, but it's actually just that's convenient. That's very convenient. How I accidentally just clicked on that. But you can see that there's no evidence at all to suggest there's a climate emergency. It's all a made-up scam. So, what do you do? Well, when you see like a storm, like in winter, you get loads of these like storms in the UK, and then like 70 miles per hour winds, 80 miles per hour winds, and nothing serious. But obviously, they use propaganda. Like, people say that, oh, they're getting worse or they're getting more frequent. They're not. I've lived by the coast all my life. they are not getting any more frequent. They've always been like this. But lots of people in cities and things like that, they don't understand. And when you look at things now, like if a storm happens now, what can I do? I can put it on my phone, I can take a video, and I can upload it straight away to Facebook, to Twitter, or whatever, any other platform you want to use, or here on YouTube. Yeah. Just picture this: about even as little as 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you could not do that. The storms were just as frequent back then, but we didn't film them as much. And now, like, every time there's a storm now which gets over 60 miles per hour wind, what do? Well, we always say that, we're giving a name: Storm Harry, Storm Harriet, Storm Paul. You just try and make it sound over dramatic. It's like what the Americans do with hurricanes. And hurricanes, I would say naming hurricanes is okay, but naming a winter storm in the UK is not okay. It's just pathetic. So, what I'm saying is there's no climate emergency. There never has been a climate emergency. Or not a man-made one anyway. So, what we're saying now is, if anyone ever says, when you see people writing stupid comments like, these are getting more frequent, or these are getting worse because of climate change, or there's something wrong with the weather, or there's something wrong with the weather, or there's weather modification or something like that, just say, no, there's nothing wrong with the weather. There is no climate emergency. It's all a load of shit. Just be honest. Just say I don't think there's anything wrong with the weather. When you do that, you're pretty much detaching yourself from the mainstream media and the alternative media, and you're living in the real world. Ask anybody for some real world evidence. Tell them to go for a walk with the camera and to take some pictures of some climate catastrophe, and they can't do it. So detach yourself from state propaganda or the alternative media and just live free. Only believe what you see with your own eyes. Thanks for watching.